Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of StarMade with Señor Calavera. And yeah, we're still making a robot. We're getting there. This is the current status of the robot. Let me show you guys. Ta-da! So he's got long legs. Oh yeah. Now it looks funny, yeah, but it was quite a huge work to figure out how to make this, and yeah, as I said, I just went there, did it, and I'm now reviewing what I've done, and we'll see if next time on the next robot we're gonna make something different. So let me show you how this transforms at the moment. So we got this huge set of buttons. We're gonna make them less in the future, but at the moment I'm just gonna show you like this. So we're going like this. Look at that, look at that flow. I think I can turn on this already. And this guy. Right, so it looks a bit funny at the moment as a jet or a plane or a spaceship, whatever. But you can have an idea how it's gonna look. It's gonna have a very long nose, and the wings gonna come somewhere from here, and this is going to be like the thrusters, just simulated thrusters. So let me show you again. I'm gonna I went too far away. Turn it back into a beautiful robot. Just find a good spot, and let's get it back. Oh, it makes me cry. It's my new baby. Oops. So yeah, it has quite a few steps. I actually find the way the legs unfold really cool. I plan this robot so it can actually move its legs, so it will move the hips and the lower leg, whatever it's called, or the knee, sorry. It will have knee movement as well. It's not gonna be sideways, it's just gonna be like, you know, back and forward. That's the only thing that I'm gonna do. But yeah, it will be able to make some poses, and you know, just to simulate that it's walking. I mean, I can say, well, we don't have really planets to make this guy walk. But or the current status of the planets, but yeah, just preparing. So as you can see, there are two cores on each I don't know how you call this, hip, whatever. So it's two, so it can actually turn them. I'm not gonna go much into details because it's just basically rails, as you can see. But I'm gonna talk about something that is actually very important, and I came across, and I had a lot of trouble to figure out how it worked. Well, not really much, but yeah, sort of. And it's the mass. Oh, the beautiful mass. So we're gonna talk about rail mass enhancers, which are all these guys here. These devices will increase the maximum mass that a rail can support. on a ship. Now it's kind of a pain because this mass is not gonna be shared, or this rail mass enhancers are not gonna be shared along the rest of the other modules that you might have attached to your main ship, which I sort of understand, but it also makes things quite difficult but interesting as well. So the main core at the moment, I had to place about 127 of these mass enhancers, so the movement of the back is still timed with the system that I made here, because obviously with the legs and the rest of the blocks, things were really heavy, so this core was moving so slow that the entire system just screwed up, and I had to detach the back and do all sorts of weird things to make it work again. And then I realized, oh yes, the mass enhancers. So having all these 127 mass enhancers on the main core allow me now to move this core again at its normal speed. If I actually go to the core, it's, oops, no, actually not on the core. Where am I? I'm here. So as you can see, when I enter this core, nothing happens, and that's a good thing, because if I will be worried if I have a red message here on the top right corner saying, oh, the mass blah blah blah. I'm gonna show you that message in a moment. So at the moment I have enough mass enhancers to move the entire robot, or to carry the entire robot, because obviously this rail is not just carrying the back, it's also carrying whatever is attached to it, which is all this stuff. The back has 88 mass enhancers, as you can see here. These enhancers are supporting what will be the spine of the robot, and it's where the hip goes up and down. Not much difference, 127 from the main core to 88 to the torso is not that much, and that is because the legs are using a lot of blocks. So I'm gonna explain that in a sec. Yep. So actually, I'm gonna explain it now. Why wait? This is what I want to talk to you guys. Like, look at all this mass enhancers. So the story is that I had to put mass enhancers on each module to make the movement more fluid, and that is because, yeah, for each module, for each ship, we need to add mass enhancers if the mass that the rails, if the mass exceeds the maximum of what a rail can carry. Now this doesn't mean that you need to put, if you have another rail carrying the same amount of blocks, doesn't mean that you're gonna have to put twice the amount of mass enhancers. No. This is only to it only counts for the maximum mass that any rail can carry within that ship. So yeah, if you place all these rails or these mass enhancers already for a rail that has, I don't know, 200 mass, and then you put another rail with 200 mass, then you're gonna be cool, because the maximum at the moment, or the number of mass enhancers are covering for that other rail that you're placing. So let me explain you guys here. I've got a very small example. I created that guy there. Let me just fly. So I got this very basic system. I got the main core with the rail, some energy. Please note the mass enhancers require power, so you don't need to have power on each module. In this case, I don't need to put power on each section of the robot, because the power is covering the entire thing. So whatever I have on the main core, on the heart, this energy is supporting all the systems from the rest of the cores. So all these mass enhancers here are taking energy from the main core. So also keep an eye on that. If you run out of power, then you're gonna be in big trouble here. Yep, so you've got your power, buttons to change direction. So we play here, yeah, it's going that way, going back. Probably it's not going back. It's going back now. And yeah, so it's all good, all happiness. If I have a look at the information of the core, as you can see, the mass is 0.2. We have 2 blocks there, and for the main core, the mass is 1.9, but there it says total with rail 2.12. So that's what you need to keep an eye. The total with rail, it's basically the mass of your ship with whatever you've got attached via rails, and that's when you're gonna be thinking of adding rail mass enhancers. So what happens if I put a big chunk of I'm just gonna go build mode. So I got a 10 by 10 by 10 cube. There you go, beautiful. If I have a look at it here, so I'm on the core of this huge cube. As you can see, we've got a mass of 50.2, which is on, in this case, for this blocks, I'm placing 1000 blocks. So each block now has its own mass. Keep an eye on that as well. If you put standard armor, you're gonna have way more mass than this. Yep, so at the moment I'm just using whole, just to give you an idea. So for 50 mass, well, for 1000 blocks, I'm actually I have 50.2 mass. Now there is a, like with the power, you know, you normally have this 50,000, I believe, of power that you've got given with the core. You also have the chance to put up to 50 mass on your rail system. So if you have a core with some modules attached, if they're not bigger than 50, they don't make more than 50 mass each, then you won't need the enhancers. Hopefully I'm explaining this properly. Like in power, if you exceed obviously the 50,000 power that you're given, then you're gonna have to start putting power cores and all that stuff. It's the same with the mass enhancers. Once you pass, if you have an object docked with a rail, or docked to a rail that it's bigger than 50 of mass, then you're gonna have to start putting in enhancers. So I'm gonna leave the core and I'm gonna get back to it. Just keep an eye on the top right corner. As you can see, it says this entity is heavier than the rail can support. Please reduce mass or add more rail mass enhancers. So as you can see, I've just passed what, 0.2 of the 50, and now my speed is 99%. Alright, so talking about speed, I don't want to make you guys confused. When you reach the maximum of 50, the rails will start slowing down. You know, the heavier the object, the rail will start slowing down. So it's the same with the no, the same with nothing. So after the 50, after you reach the 50 mass, if you start putting more mass, then the rail will start moving the object slower until it barely moves. I believe there's there's a setting on the server where if it's too heavy it will just detach. I think this can be disabled, and I think on this multiplayer server is disabled, so even if you reach the very maximum of mass and everything is so slow, it won't really detach the object. I hope I'm right, because once I'm making the robot here in multiplayer, if I do that by mistake and if something detaches, it's just gonna be horrific and I'm gonna cry a lot. So as you can see now, the rail is just running at 99% its speed. I mean, it's not that bad. You really don't see any difference. But obviously, if you are adding more and more mass, let's say if I add another 50, ooh, that's gonna be very exciting. So if I add here another 50, sorry, another 50, now another 10 by 10 by 10 block, which will give me another 50.2 mass, which means that I have 100.2 mass now. You can see there, here, 102 mass with 2002 blocks. So what happens if I leave the core and enter again? Now the message is telling me that the speed is only 1%. What does this mean? It means that it's a pain in the ass. Look at this. Look at this. And I think on this server it stays at 1%. It doesn't go lower. It's just to prevent detaching the rails. But then what happens in this case with a robot? Obviously I need the time to be always constant if I'm planning to move this ship without having too many buttons. If I'm gonna use trigger zones and stuff like that, I will need that everything runs at a specific time. So obviously I'm gonna have to put mass enhancers. Now as I said, because the server stops this at 1%, I believe, because I've been trying like bigger objects and it's always 1%. You don't really have exactly when does the mass enhancer starts working properly, but testing it for this 100.2 mass block that it's been moved by this rail, I needed to put around 15 mass enhancers. So if I start adding these things like a crazy, oops, so you can see now that I put this one, there you go, it's making a difference. So at the moment I'm still at 1% with 2, 4, 6, 8 blocks, 8 mass enhancers, but add one and it says going faster. So if I check, now we are at 6.5% speed, and so on. Put another one, and now we're at 24. So that increased like, I don't know, like 18%, 17%, something like that. So keeping that in mind, you sort of have an idea when you're gonna reach the 100 again. I don't know if it's exponential. There is a formula. I'm gonna put it right there. Just make your calculations to have an idea of how much mass you will need. If I have a look again, now we are at 94%, and yeah, well, if I add the 15th block, then I'm back to normal and it's not giving me any more errors. And if I play it, it will just run at its normal speed. So there you go, guys. It's very interesting. Obviously it's another problem for me, because I will need to figure out where I'm gonna put all those blocks into the core of the ship. especially those ones there. It's just a mess, guys. It's just a mess, but we'll clean it up. Also, we'll probably need to make another couple of energy cubes here. Just probably gonna look at the wiki. There's some systems, some power systems that are actually really cool, very compact. So I might just look at them, make something like that. And I think that's it for now. I'm gonna start working on other logic systems. I just wanted to talk to you about the mass enhancers because it is important if you're making something as big as this thing. And hopefully, I hope that you liked how this thing is looking. I'm very happy with it. Probably not on the ship mode. That's gonna look a little bit funny, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, have a good day, guys. Have a good night, guys. Anytime. I don't know. Where are you? Wherever you are. But I'm probably gonna see you next time with more adventures in StarMade. See yous.